In the dusty streets of Kisumu, two barefoot boys, Alfred and Eric, chased a tattered football beneath the blazing afternoon sun. The highway was their playground, and the roaring trucks their cheering crowd. One day, a long-distance truck driver named Peter slowed his rig and watched them with quiet admiration. Their laughter echoed through the fumes and chaos, innocent, unbroken, hungry for life. Peter finally parked and approached, his kind eyes full of questions. "My sons, do you go to school?" he asked softly. "No, sir," Alfred answered, clutching the ball. "We've got no home either." Peter sighed, moved by their honesty. "If you promise to study hard, I'll give you both a home." The boys exchanged glances, hearts pounding with disbelief. "We'll work hard, sir." "We promise." Moments later, the truck rumbled away toward Kisumu, carrying two smiling boys whose lives were about to change forever. The truck rolled into Kisumu, a quiet village wrapped in the scent of maize fields and red soil. For Alfred and Eric, every passing tree felt like a dream. Peter's home was modest but welcoming. His wife, Stephanie, appeared at the doorway, apron on, eyes sharp. "Stephanie," Peter said warmly, "these are our new sons. Treat them as your own." Her smile was tight and forced. That night, the boys bathed for the first time in weeks and ate steaming ugali and stew like princes rediscovering humanity. But in Stephanie's eyes lingered resentment, two strangers invading her comfort. As Peter watched the boys drift to sleep, he felt fulfilled. Yet behind him, Stephanie whispered, "Two more mouths to feed, Peter?" He only smiled. "They need love." Outside, the moonlight rested on the boys' faces. They didn't know it yet, but this new home carried both shelter and storm. Days turned into weeks, and the house in Kisumu found a new rhythm. Peter left early for his truck routes, leaving Stephanie in charge. Her own sons, Steve and Arnold, watched Alfred and Eric with narrowed eyes. At mealtime, the divide grew clear. Steve and Arnold feasted at the table while Alfred and Eric sat on the floor, their plates filled with scraps. Stephanie's tone was always sharp. "You two street boys should be grateful you even eat here," she hissed. But when Peter returned home, her voice turned honey-sweet. "They're doing well in school," she lied, smiling. Under the mango tree, Eric whispered bitterly, "Alfred, she treats us like slaves." "We're not her children," Alfred looked at him with calm resolve. "We promised Peter. Let's make him proud. Hard work will be our revenge." Eric sighed, nodding. "All right, brother. For Peter, we endure." The afternoon sun burned high over Kisumu. Alfred sat beneath the mango tree, wiping sweat from his brow after hours of washing clothes and fetching water. Eric stomped toward him, fury in his eyes. "Alfred, I can't stand it anymore," he shouted. "She treats us like laborers in a Nazi camp, and she's Adolf Hitler herself." Alfred chuckled weakly. "Relax, brother. Work is work. Whether at home or in school, it's still better than the streets." "But we didn't promise to be her servants," Eric spat. "Maybe. But remember, Peter gave us a roof. We owe him that much." Eric frowned, his anger fading. "You'd even wash her panties if she asked?" Alfred smiled. "If that's what it takes to prove our worth." Eric shook his head but laughed. For a moment the tension broke, and the two boys found courage in their shared dream, to rise above their suffering. One bright morning, the village buzzed with news. Alfred and Eric had earned scholarships through the Bill Gates Foundation. They were to study abroad in the United States of America. When the letter arrived, Peter lifted it with trembling hands, pride glistening in his eyes. "You've made me the happiest man alive," he said, voice thick with emotion. Even Stephanie couldn't hide her shock. Beneath her forced smile, envy churned. "So, the street boys are flying overseas," she muttered. The entire village gathered to bid them farewell. Dressed in new suits bought by Peter, the boys looked transformed, confident, hopeful, radiant. As the bus pulled away toward the airport, Stephanie's sons watched from the gate, silent and sullen. "They're taking our luck," Steve whispered. "No," said Peter, smiling proudly. They're taking the future they earned. As Kisian's dust rose behind them, Alfred and Eric soared toward destiny and redemption. Years slipped by like whispers in the wind. In Kisian, Stephanie's once proud home turned silent, the laughter long gone. Her sons, Steve and Arnold, had become shadows of their youth, bitter, drunk, and hopeless. They stumbled through village paths, bottles in hand, reeking of failure. Mothers whispered, "Those are Stephanie's sons," and shook their heads. One evening she found Steve sprawled in a ditch, his clothes soaked in alcohol. Her heart broke as she knelt beside him. "My sons, why shame me this way?" she cried. "Mama," Steve slurred, eyes half open. "It's you. You cursed us. You treated Alfred and Eric like slaves." Arnold hiccuped and farted loudly, too drunk to speak. Stephanie's tears fell freely. "I thought I was protecting you," she whispered, "but I was blind." The night swallowed her sobs, and for the first time, she felt the sting of her own cruelty. Morning crept into Kisian with the sound of roosters, but Stephanie sat in the dim kitchen, her eyes swollen from crying. Steve, still reeking of liquor, slumped beside her. "Mama," he said hoarsely, "you thought by hurting them you'd help us. But you only hurt us all." She stared blankly at her hands. "I wanted you to have more. I didn't know kindness was wealth." Steve laughed bitterly. "Now Alfred and Eric live like kings while we drown in shame." Stephanie forced a trembling smile. "They send me upkeep money, even bought me a car. Then they are the blessed ones," Steve said, tears welling. "And we, the cursed." She reached for his hand. "Don't lose hope, my son. I'll take you to a pastor. God still forgives." Steve looked away. "If you had believed that earlier, Mama," he said softly, "we might have been saved." Far away in New York City, the skyline shimmered under a golden sunset. Inside a cozy apartment overlooking the streets below, Alfred and Eric sat in quiet gratitude. The aroma of roasted meat and fresh pizza filled the air as their partners, Beryl and Naomi, set the table. "It still feels like a dream," Eric said, staring out the window, "from Kisumu's dust to New York's lights." Alfred smiled softly. "We owe it all to Peter. He gave us a chance to live." Eric's tone dimmed. "It's sad he's gone." "A road accident. Such a cruel end," Alfred nodded. "Then we must honor him. We'll support his family, just as he supported us." As they joined hands at the table, the glow of the city lights mirrored their gratitude. From forgotten street boys to men of purpose, they had risen, not just in wealth, but in heart. The night in New York was alive with soft music and laughter. Alfred and Eric sat with Beryl and Naomi, sharing food, wine, and memories that stretched across oceans. The warmth of love filled the room, yet beneath their smiles lingered deep humility. "To Peter," Alfred said, raising his glass, "the man who turned our pain into purpose." They clinked glasses, the sound echoing like a blessing. "He was our ladder," Eric added. "We'll keep his spirit alive by helping others rise too." Outside, snowflakes began to fall, glimmering like tiny miracles. Inside, their hearts burned with gratitude. They knew that true wealth wasn't money or fame. It was kindness, faith, and second chances. Back in Kisian, Stephanie often gazed at the car they'd bought her, tears in her eyes. She had learned too late that compassion, not blood, makes a family. And so, the two brothers lived blessed, forever thankful,